The South African Revenue Service has issued an urgent fraud alert, warning taxpayers about a surge in sophisticated scams, including fake audit notices and phishing links designed to steal your personal and banking information. It comes as the 2025 tax season kicks off, with auto assessments starting tomorrow. SARS Commissioner Kieswetter joins us now for more. Commissioner, good evening to you. Thanks for your time and welcome to the program. So you're warning about this new SMS scam involving fake audit notices. Just describe it to our viewers.
Thank you, Iman. There's been an increase. It's not new, but there's been an increase in these notices that seek to obtain access to your profile and asks for information that SARS would not ask for. And the simple reason is that during this time, many taxpayers are due refunds. And so you'll get all kinds of notices saying you have a refund due, please click here and then ask for personal details. SARS will never ever ask for personal details. And we really caution taxpayers not to press through on links that appear via text messages because these will not be coming from SARS. We also, while we are talking about taxpayers protecting themselves, we're asking taxpayers to be especially cautious in who they share their password with. We find almost always password breaches or so-called profile hacking is when taxpayers inadvertently or unwittingly share their password with friends or family, or even, we've found instances where practitioners may share passwords amongst each other. So we have introduced a two-factor authentication. And then secondly, also, even once you have already been authenticated, if we feel there is a high-risk transaction, we may ask you for a further authentication and using, like the banks do, a one-time PIN in many instances.
I want to double down on that point. You've just said to us that SARS won't send links, for example, via text. And we still see taxpayers falling victim to these scams. How does the public reliably distinguish real SARS messages from fraudulent ones?
So if a taxpayer has any concern, then we have introduced a number of direct links to SARS, whether you have a smartphone or not. And on this, you will have all the available information. So, for example, if you're not sure about a message, then don't respond to that message. Use the SMS. Taxpayers can use 47277 to get an SMS from us, and that will then open up an opportunity for them to ask for a statement of account, to ask for their status, to ask if they have any refund due. They can also use WhatsApp. WhatsApp would be 811 7277. By the way, our core number is 7277, prefaced by whether you're using a WhatsApp or an SMS. We also have a facility where taxpayers can dial off a simple phone *134 *727 hash. And so doing this ensures that you are actually connected to an authentic official SARS link from which you can get a statement of account, your tax number, and any other information that would be updated. For those taxpayers who use smartphones, and many South Africans do, we have a website link of www.sars.gov.za, where we have an online query system. We also have a mobile app that taxpayers can download, as well as an AI assistant or a chatbot that taxpayers can use to engage with SARS. So we've really taken significant precautions for taxpayers to minimize their risk of being defrauded, sadly, by unscrupulous operators who have no other interest but to enrich themselves illegally.
All right, so again, things to watch out for, links in text messages, anything that says send me your password should get your suspicions or should raise your suspicions. Edward, what should taxpayers do if they've already clicked on what they now realize is a suspicious link, or they've entered their details. Can SARS help them to recover or secure their accounts after the fact?
Unfortunately, we can't, once taxpayers have breached their own confidentiality or allowed someone access to change their bank details, for example, so that they can divert refunds, for example. But some of the banks do have phishing detection software, and if a taxpayer has been fraudulently accessed into the bank account, the bank hasn't picked it up, taxpayers should also inquire with their banks.
So as we've seen, Commissioner, scammers often impersonate SARS. They even impersonate law enforcement and the banks. Talk to us about your work or collaboration with banks like Standard Bank or even the Hawks to begin to crack down on some of these scamming and fraud syndicates.
I'll talk about that. I hope we're going to come back to the filing season in a minute. But yeah, so for us, SARS is part of the criminal justice system, and we conduct our own criminal investigations, whether it is a single taxpayer or a syndicate, and we start working with the Hawks and the prosecution authorities fairly early. We have what is called prosecutor-led investigations, and we have over the last few years worked very hard in order to hand over what we call prosecution-ready files to the authorities, so that all of the work that is typically required for the NPA to decide that a matter has prima facie evidence for a prosecution, that the time is limited. The NPA obviously is limited by their own constraints, and so we do have a backlog as far as that is concerned. And we work with the Hawks in terms of criminal investigations. We also work with the South African Police, with the Border Management Agency, and our customs agents to do searches and seizures when we believe that there are certain breaches of the law that has been perpetrated.
All right. As you've so inelegantly reminded me, Commissioner, about actual e-filing season, and I think the country's been following the season 1 budget debut, then season 2, until we finally ended up with a workable budget. But you had asked for more money, and there's a considerable burden on you in terms of tax revenue collection. I think the debt recovery piece of it is around 20 billion rand, but you're chasing a big number to try and make sure that it adds to what South Africa can use in taking care of our financial obligations as a country. So talk to us about the filing season this year.
So the filing season for most taxpayers is refund season. And we find that taxpayers who expect a refund tend to file earlier. Taxpayers who suspect that they may have to pay in, they wait until the last. Just normal human behavior. We hold on to our money for as long as we can. But the good news is that we have worked quite hard since we've introduced a value proposition to taxpayers that we called auto assessment. And to just give you a little bit of background information, Iman, SARS obtains from third-party information providers like employers, banks, retirement funds, medical aids, etc., harvests over 326 million items of demographic data on taxpayers like yourself and like myself. And our people work behind the scenes quite hard, and this would include data scientists, process engineers, technology developers, writing of AI and machine learning codes, probably about 150,000 person hours behind the scene. And this year, we have extended our universe from 5 million to include another 500,000. So our universe of taxpayers in this auto assessment program will be around about 5.5 million. Now, this is what we want to clarify to taxpayers. Filing season for auto assessment, therefore, starts tomorrow on the 7th and will run until the 20th of July. Then In that period, we ask taxpayers not to contact us, but to log on to one of the numbers I had indicated earlier on to see whether they are included in the auto assessment population. And if they are, then between the 7th and the 18th, they will receive an SMS from us informing them that their assessment is ready. And if they view that on one of our digital online platforms and they are happy with the outcome, they need do nothing. We have done all the work for them, and their refund we aim to have in their bank account in under 72 hours, provided there are no glitches, either on our side or their side. We have achieved over 70% of refunds. Generally, we pay within the 72 hours that we have set for ourselves, and this is great for taxpayers. So 7th to 17th to the 18th, they will be informed. We typically prioritize taxpayers with refunds first, and we ask taxpayers to check their status in this period to see whether they've been selected. If they have not been selected, then the normal filing season for non-provisional taxpayers will start then on the 21st of the 7th to the 20th of October. That's the period when taxpayers can file their returns. Should they do this, so the current turnaround time is they will receive an assessment outcome in under 5 seconds. That's almost instantly. And they will then be informed whether they have been selected for further verification, and SARS will engage with them. Typically, again, we aim to do that within 21 days so that we can finalize their account, and if there's a refund due, to pay out that refund.
All right.
For provisional taxpayers, it is from the 21st of July to the 19th of January, and for trusts, it is from the 19th of September to the 19th of January.
All right, so no long refund waiting times there is what you're sharing with us. And quickly, just to close, are you expecting a tax bonanza this year from revenue, payers, from taxpayers?
Well, first of all, the economy is, as we hear from the latest predictions, is we have decreased our forecast from the earlier forecast of economic growth. That means that most companies will perform slightly lower than what they had anticipated. We also find the reason why there's such a focus on debt recovery is we find generally South Africans are financially strained. We see how the access into the two-pot retirement fund system has really so far delivered back into the hands of taxpayers almost 50 billion if you take into account that about 15 billion of tax was deducted from that. So we really see the struggle, and this requires a persistent effort from SARS through our compliance program to ensure that the fiscus indeed collects the money that is due in this current financial year. It won't be easy, it'll be hard work and require persistent effort on our part.
Commissioner Edward Kieswetter, thank you for talking to us today on the twin topics of the beginning of the tax season, but also just some warnings so that you can hold on to your details and potentially your money as well from SARS. Thank you for your time this evening.